Welcome back to Mega Stadiums. Today, we're traveling to the very edge of European football, above the Arctic Circle, to a city where snowstorms, freezing darkness, and isolation helped create one of the most remarkable football stories anywhere in the world. This is the rise of, and the incredible new stadium project that could change the future of football in the Arctic forever. Because in the heart of Bodø, a bold new arena is rising from the snow, a stadium designed for Northern Lights, for Champions League nights, for the next era of Bodø/Glimt. This is Arctic Arena. For over a century, football in Bodø existed against the odds. Founded in 1916, Bodø/Glimt grew in one of the harshest climates in Europe. During winter, sunlight disappears for months. Temperatures collapse below freezing. Wind and snow dominate daily life. And yet football survived here. In the club's earliest decades, there was no permanent home. Matches were played on frozen community fields shared with other sports, with players and supporters adapting to conditions most clubs would never accept. But the dream of building something permanent never disappeared. That dream finally began to take shape in the 1960s. Construction started at Aspmyra Stadion, and when the ground officially opened in 1966, Bodø/Glimt finally had a home of their own. But even then, northern clubs still faced major disadvantages inside Norwegian football. For decades, teams from northern Norway operated under restrictions that limited access to the country's highest competitions. Geography made travel expensive and difficult, and clubs from the Arctic were often treated as outsiders. Everything changed in 1976. A year later, Bodø/Glimt entered for the first time, and shocked the nation immediately. Second in the league, second in the Norwegian Cup. For a club from a tiny Arctic city playing inside a modest, partially uncovered stadium, it was a moment that forced the rest of Norway to pay attention. The decades after were unpredictable. Relegations, promotions, financial struggles, rebuilds. But throughout every era, Aspmyra remained the emotional center of the club. The stadium slowly evolved over time. Renovations modernized the stands, removed the athletics track, and pushed the ground closer to UEFA standards. Still, Aspmyra always had limits. And eventually, those limits became impossible to ignore. After returning to Norway's top division in 2018, Bodø/Glimt entered the greatest period in club history. League titles followed in rapid succession. European nights transformed the club's reputation. Suddenly, some of the biggest teams in Europe were traveling above the Arctic Circle and leaving defeated. The freezing weather, relentless supporters, and fearless attacking football turned Aspmyra into one of Europe's most intimidating away grounds. Then came the historic breakthrough. The Bodø/Glimt became the northernmost club ever to compete on Europe's biggest stage. But success revealed a growing problem. Aspmyra was no longer built for what the club had become. Capacity sold out instantly. Commercial infrastructure was limited. European requirements pushed the old stadium to its absolute edge. For years, the club understood one thing. Aspmyra had become a ceiling. And so, the vision for Arctic Arena was born. The first images of the project immediately stood out. Dark, aggressive, futuristic. Unlike almost any stadium ever built this far north, the exterior design uses sharp geometric surfaces inspired by the shape of a diamond, a symbol chosen to represent resilience, strength, and the unforgiving character of northern Norway. During winter nights, the effect becomes almost surreal. The arena glows through snow and darkness like a massive crystal emerging from the Arctic landscape. It does not feel imported from another city. It feels completely tied to Bodø itself. Inside, the atmosphere changes entirely. Warm yellow lighting, wood finishes, reflective materials inspired by the northern lights and midnight sun. Every design decision tries to connect the stadium to Arctic identity. And unlike Aspmyra, every seat inside Arctic Arena will be fully covered. A critical feature in a city where heavy snow, freezing rain, and violent winds are normal matchday conditions. The new stadium will hold around 10,000 supporters inside a fully enclosed four-sided bowl designed to create a louder, more intense atmosphere than ever before. But the project goes far beyond football. The wider development includes fitness centers, office spaces, paddle courts, squash and tennis facilities, and social areas connected to the city's craft beer culture. Sustainability also sits at the center of the project. Energy-efficient systems, recyclable materials, and advanced environmental planning are integrated throughout the design. Even Arctic snow becomes part of the engineering strategy, with snowmelt and natural water systems incorporated directly into pitch maintenance. This is not just a stadium in the Arctic. It is a stadium engineered for Arctic life. The road toward construction was long and complicated. Early visions appeared years before the final design competition selected the concept for Arctic Arena. But by 2025, momentum became unstoppable. Club members overwhelmingly approved the project, financing moved into place, and major construction contracts began to be awarded. In February 2026, Nordic secured the contract to engineer and install the arena's primary steel structure. Then in late March 2026, Bravida Norway. https://www.bravida.no/UTM_source=chatgpt.com confirmed a £4.7 million contract to install all plumbing, heating, cooling, and fire suppression systems across the arena. The overall cost of Arctic Arena is estimated between £90 million and £100 million, making it the most significant sporting infrastructure investment in the history of northern Norway. And symbolically, that matters. Because this project represents far more than construction. It represents the transformation of Bodø/Glimt from an isolated northern club into a permanent force in European football. Construction is targeted for completion in 2027. And when Arctic Arena finally opens, under the midnight sun or beneath the northern lights, it will represent more than a new football stadium. It will represent over a century of survival, persistence, and belief. From frozen local pitches to Champions League football, from isolation to the center of the European game. Aspmyra gave Bodø/Glimt its soul. Arctic Arena could give them their future. And that is the story of Arctic Arena, one of the most fascinating stadium projects in world football right now. What do you think of the design? And how far can Bodø/Glimt go in the future? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss another Mega Stadiums episode. Thanks for watching.